Yo, what is up everybody? Welcome back to the channel. Hope you've been doing well. It has been a little while since the last video, but it's picking up this season. Hopefully we start getting a little bit more videos pushed out, but we are here for another review, this time for the long awaited Green Goblin from shfiguarts, and this is the No Way Home Final Battle Edition essentially. And honestly, I really have a lot of interesting feelings when it comes to this figure, right? Super detailed, but is the articulation what I would need it to be? Are the accessories what I need it to be? We're going to get into all that. So without further ado, let's just get it out the way and get this discussion going. But first things first, we got to talk about this box, all right? Biggest lie of the century. So obviously this is concept art. They could have gone with an open window here, but they didn't. This was premium Bandai, I believe, in Japan. So if you're seeing big price hikes on Japan sites after this, that's why. But it is general release in the States, so you should be able to find it relatively easy if you are interested. So that's that. But this is concept art, and a lot of people are frustrated that he doesn't come with any grinning expressions, laughing expressions, or just genuinely any other expression than just sad, depressed Norman Osborn. Even with the goggles on, it really doesn't make you feel like he's the Green Goblin and he's sinister and evil, right? It just is a guy with goggles on in a hoodie. That's how it feels when you look at his face, and that's just talking about the expression. And when you look at the actual face, that's a whole nother thing. But yeah, so I would say that that's pretty much the biggest disappointment here, just looking at the box. Just that it's not there, and they could have avoided that, just maybe stop people from having that expectation at the same time. But still, yeah, that's that. So let's get into talking about this guy. So just detail wise, right, I really like what they did here. You look at the figure, and just all over, it's lots of good details. You got that really nice metallic shine to it. This is actually soft plastic to a degree, so not necessarily a problem. It's not getting in the way of so much articulation, and we'll get into that a little bit later, but it's okay. It also has like a little hoodie part right here, which we'll get into again in a little bit. But yeah, noticeably, it's great detail wise, and when you take this off, there's actually details under there, so if you wanted to, you could display him like that without the hoodie on. But similar to what the Hot Toys did is what I was expecting they could have done here, which was, oops, I accidentally bumped into the camera. But I was hoping that they would have another piece right here where you could actually fill in kind of this missing part. Like if you take the hoodie off, we'll just do this really quick for the sake of the video, but there is an exposed area there. The Hot Toys has another piece that you would take the neck off and replace it, so you can have a covered up piece right here, not necessarily exposing it like that, and it fits with their unmasked head. Wish they would have done something like that here, maybe just a tiny piece that fills in right there for a neck, but they didn't. So if you are fine with dealing with that, go for it. I personally am okay with dealing with it. So you may see photos here and there with this jacket off. If the head would go back on, please. The head was giving me a little bit of trouble. But next, just talking about the glider, it's pretty well detailed. It's got the metallic shine over it. It's got the nice bright purple, well, bright/dark purple on it. You can see like a lot of the little details here. Weirdly though, it has peg holes on the parts where the feet go, and I'm not sure if you can capture that on the camera. You might be able to see like the little holes right there. I'm not really sure what they were intending with that, because they didn't offer you any pegged feet, which is kind of pointless if they're gonna do this. I don't know. Maybe they could have done magnetized feet or something. I don't know. He does stay in here pretty well, which I'll show later, but still questionable things, right? Like, why is that there? Don't know why, but it just is. It's not. It is sharp, not super sharp that you might prick yourself so bad, but it is sharp, so be wary of that. But yeah, other than that, detail wise, it's pretty okay. Maybe some smoke effect or something coming from the back of the glider could have been cool, or I don't know, for the price of $120 plus, depending where you buy it from, a light up feature in the glider maybe, I don't know. I just feel like, there's going to be that question of, is it worth it for the $120 price hike? That's questionable. But yeah, let's move into the accessories and get into the articulation. So first things first, he does come with 2 alternate heads. Here's the normal expression, basically still the same as the other one. It does look like Willem Dafoe, a pretty decent bit, but some questionable things like that hair. Why is that not fully painted in? Or why does he have a mustache all of a sudden? That's just a couple of things, for example. Let's get the other head out. Here is the goggled expression, still with the mustache, and for some reason, unpainted hair in the middle there. Again, it's the expression is pretty blank. I mean, if they would have just given you one grin, I think a lot of people would be much more satisfied, because you're getting that experience of the Green Goblin from No Way Home, as opposed to him just looking stern. And I know where this expression took place in the movie, when he was looking down at Peter and was exactly looking like this, a stern expression, just looking at him while he was tearing the glider apart, grabbing that pumpkin bomb. But still, like, there's many moments in that film where you could see a nice grin, an evil, sinister smile or smirk of some kind that they could have done. And to compare it to Hasbro, it's just kind of crazy that the figure that costs this much doesn't have that on top of the Goblin mask, which we can get into later in the conclusion. But let me get the other accessories. And so, as I mentioned earlier when we were showing this off, this is the hood down accessory that you would put around the neck. And here's the hood variation of that. This is also soft plastic on the top, so it's very easy to kind of push down in there. You don't have to worry about accidentally breaking it or bending it too much. It'll hold. So that's a plus, I would say. Let me put an actual head on here real quick. Now, he also comes with the retracted blade here, and it's pretty easy to swap these out. It's similar to like how they do Iron Man, essentially. There's a slot here, and you just take it off, you match it up like that. And we'll grab the other one here. Hear me shuffling to the side. Here we got the actual blade piece, and there you go. It's pretty long, when he stabbed Toby, but he recovered. It's okay. So that's how it looks. Nothing else to really say about that. And of course, out the box, you get 2 fist hands, very detailed still. Of course, on the inside of them, there's not too much mesh or anything showing there, but the knuckles and stuff, you can see all those nice details. Here are the open palm hands. Once again, no details on the inside hand, but all those details on the outside. Now, I'm not too sure what they intended these hands to be. I would assume that this is so you can kind of reach forward and grab the glider. That's what I would think. But they kind of look like stance hands, like fighting stance hands from Dragon Ball. But, if you know what hands these would preferably be for, let me know. But I would think that they go to the glider so you can grab it. And that's questionable if we can even do that, but we'll get to there. We'll get there. And I had to save the best for last. But this is the holding hand for the pumpkin bomb, and we only get one, unfortunately, so we can't dual wield them. But I'm sure somebody out there will sell a pumpkin bomb or 2 for pretty cheap on the market, so I'm sure you could find one if you're looking decently enough. But yeah, pretty cool. Of course, I will say these hands, for some reason, you do have to put a little bit extra force to push them in all the way, but be careful about those pegs. This one for me is a little looser than the left arm or left hand, but not too much of a problem. Just be kind of cautious of that. All right, so articulation, the big focal point of this review so far. I'm gonna say, first off, I prefer not to have the butt flaps here in this figure. I took them off when I initially started taking some pictures and videos. I do not like these butt flaps. I feel like they're just there to limit his range of motion. Additionally, this belt, don't know why they sculpted it onto the body, or it's glued or whatever on the body. I don't know why they did that. I think it's kind of a dumb move because it limits articulation. In a way, I would say it's like the Berserk Guts figure. Accessories that are just blocking his leg articulation. And luckily for the Guts figure, you can take the packs off and knives off and whatnot, and you can display him or not display him, and it still looks pretty decent. With him, it's there, right? These are just stuck on there no matter what, and you can see in there it's pretty tough. If you take it out, it's gonna look kind of weird. I would have much preferred these be on ball pegs because, you know, they just kind of get in the way for a lot of stuff, in my opinion. But it is what it is. Yeah. Let's get into the articulation. So I'm going to take this hood off because, you know, it is limiting a little bit. But with just the neck, and let me actually turn it. So this is about as high as he can go up and down. And trying to get his chin on the collar there. That's about as far as he can go. Now, of course, with the soft plastic, I really don't think it's going to be too much of an issue for him with his head, but I can't imagine you're going to be doing too much crazy things with him looking around and stuff like that. And again, this is on a double ball peg, so you should be able to get some decent range of motion just here in the head. Now, moving into the arms, you can get him all the way up in a T-pose. He does have bicep swivel, a little stiff there. This shoulder piece, kinda, yeah, it's on a weird, let's see if you can see that. Yeah, so it'll lift up and back like that, but it hasn't broken or it hasn't fallen off for me, so not too much of an issue, but do be careful and mindful of how that works so you don't break it on accident. And of course, you get your arm articulation with the double jointed elbow there, pretty decent. Not too bad. Now, I noticed this when I got Carnage as well from Tamashii. These kind of arms, you know, they can kind of do another swivel inside of this bicep joint here. I'm not sure if that's intentional or not, but I do think it's kind of cool, just so you can still get a nice lineup with these accessories. But yeah, I think it's a nice detail at least. You guys let me know, do you use that kind of feature on your figures or not? And of course, you've got your swivel here at the wrist. Now, ab articulation and torso articulation. So it's not horrible. He can get a decent amount of range there. If I were to take this off, which let's do that real quick. Kind of for me, I just hold it right here and pull so you don't damage this as well. And it's pretty easy to take the arm off. And voila, again, soft plastic, so don't worry about it. All right, so here we are. As you can see, again, detailed. And without that on, I mean, it's a little bit better. Additionally, you're gonna really be taking use of the crotch area with the articulation there if you're trying to, you know, try to get some range, but also you can kind of see here in the back. Let's see if we can cut that light. It is on a ball peg there inside, if you can see that. Similar to the Spider-Man figures, I would say. Yeah, just up here as well. Let's see if I can capture that. There you go. Yeah, that's about as far forward he goes up top. And again, like I said, it's exposed, but it's really up to you how much you care about that. Now, he can get some decent range here with the leg. Of course, the belt is not going to allow him to go all the way up, but up enough. And then you get that a little over 90 degrees there, bend at the knee. And I find the experience with the ankles differently on each leg, since this doesn't have any kind of covers here. You know, it's easier to kind of move around. And the knee just fell off, but it's on a peg, so you can just put it back in. Hopefully that's not a problem though. There is also thigh swivel there in case I didn't mention that. But yeah, get some good range there in the ankles. Not too bad. And this one is a little bit stiffer for me, but again, it's blocked by these, so you're not going to be doing like a whole lot with it, in my opinion. Yeah, but yeah, that's pretty much it articulation wise for this guy. Oh yeah, toe hinge there in case I didn't mention that as well. But I mean, it's pretty decent. It's not horrible, it's not bad, but questionable things about it that I think they could have done differently. And I mean, it's not like they haven't been doing it, so again, it sparks that debate of what is the decisions going on, you know, in the development room with these teams. And I mean, that's just general across most figure lines. And I mean, they've done Spider-Man figures pretty decently, but this one definitely thinks they could have changed to make it a lot better. And that's not just accessory wise, but overall, I mean, so far I'd say it's like 7.5 out of 10 for me. So is it worth it? 50-50. We'll get to that in a second. So without further ado, let's jump into the conclusion segment of this after we talk about this glider articulation. I know. I almost got you guys, but I almost forgot to. We gotta talk about this glider. It was sitting on the side for a second. Now, the glider, you do need a Tamashii Nations stand. So they don't give you one. Why? I couldn't tell you. They just said, you know what? You need the glider, but you want to pose them with the glider in the air. Yeah, we're just not going to give you the stand for that. Go pay an extra $10 or $15 somewhere else to go get it. You know, shipping and tax included. And yeah, there you go. In case you're wondering, like, the size of this, that's the size of the pig. And that is the size of the pig hole. So yeah, if you can find one for cheap though, go for it, because you're gonna need it, man. It doesn't look as cool. It doesn't look nearly as cool without a stand. I'm just gonna say that. If you just got him on your display and he's just chilling like that, it's cool. But you know, you always want to get those good flight poses. So yeah, let me put the Goblin on here in a second. But first, again, I mentioned that these have peg holes. Don't know why they didn't give you feet that peg into them just for more stability, because the feet sometimes can pop out, you know, if they're not fully secured in, which, depending on the pose you do, again, he might fall off. These are on a swivel here, so you can do it all around like that. And you can also go side to side. And the wings are on a kind of hinge like that, and you can also move up and down right there, so you can a lot of good range here. I'm not sure on the longevity of the glider, but I think if you are utilizing a stand and just making sure he's not toppling over so often, the glider will be, you know, fine. So far I haven't really had any issues with that. Just be conscientious of the weight and how much is being shifted forward, stuff like that. But yeah, let me put him on the glider, get a good look at him, and then we'll have our conclusion. All right, so we're back, and believe it or not, it actually took a lot longer than I intended to put him back on this glider. And the pose I had him at, I probably should have just left him in earlier. But man, this glider, look, it's cool looking, but the articulation of the figure just, I don't think does it enough justice. It could have been a lot cooler had he been able to, you know, strike that pose holding the glider, but that belt kind of limits him from going any higher than what you would want him to do. And just with the way that the legs are set up in the attachment parts here, you know, there's only so much you can do before he's eventually just going to fall out. And you can kind of see, let me see if I can zoom in there. You can kind of see like his feet are a little popping out in the back there, but it is what it is. Yeah, I mean, if I had to give a, you know, concrete yes or no buy, I would say no. Obviously the Legends is going to be, you know, arriving sooner or later. I mean, I've seen Doc Ock start getting in-hand photos, so it's likely the Goblin will eventually too. And honestly, for what he comes with, I just think it's a better deal. You're getting a head with a nice grin expression in goggles that you can take on or off, so you actually can have technically two variations of the same expression, as opposed to two faces, two head sculpts actually, with the same expression and one without goggles. That's really the difference here. They could have used that other head for something totally different, but they decided not to. Yeah, and also you get the Goblin mask with the Legends, so there's that. If you want to kind of, you know, customize him that way and have him be in the full armor essentially. And yeah, you get the glider too, all for like what, $60, I think. So it's a much better price at that. If you're looking for something a little bit more classic to the Raimi trilogy, there is the PW Toys Goblin, which I think goes for about like, I want to say $100-ish. It's not too bad. I've seen people like Lethal Collector, go check him out on TikTok or Instagram or YouTube. He told me it's pretty like flexible, like it's really articulated, like if you could take it pretty far. So I'm curious to see how it is when I get it. But yeah, in comparison to this, I just think, yeah, there are better options. $120 for all this is not really all that impressive to me. They definitely could have swapped some things, but I don't know, maybe if they had limitations set for them on what they could do because of other companies, I don't know. But definitely there are just some questionable things here in his package. But again, for what he can do with the glider, I mean, I feel limited. You can get some good angles with him though. But again, the belt really feels like too stiff for me. They should have made it a separate piece that you can move around freely and take off as you please. So you don't necessarily have to do that yourself and potentially mess it up, but it's there. Again, I would have also liked the side pieces with the bag pockets and whatnot to be on ball pegs so you can take them off. They're not, but it is what it is. But yeah, that's pretty much it for this review. I do have Orochimaru, I think, coming. Actually, I do have him already. What am I talking about? So we'll get to him eventually. But yeah, this figure, if you're a hardcore, you need everything, sure, go for it. He's detailed enough that he looks good on the shelf. The faces are okay if you don't mind the weird mustache. I'm pretty sure there's been ways to get that off that I've seen on Twitter and whatnot, so just probably look that up if you have the figure and are looking for that solution. And yeah, again, articulation is it's good, but it's not good enough when you want to do these crazy poses with the glider, because that's the biggest thing is recreating comic covers, comic panels, video game moments, movie moments, and you just can't do all of that with this figure, unfortunately. And that's my opinion. Let me know how you feel in the comments. Did you buy this figure? Are you returning it? Are you selling it? Are you keeping it? Let me know. Without further ado, I will catch you guys in the next review or news video. We are getting something on the 5th Japan time, of course. So technically that should be tomorrow at the time of this video. So stay tuned for that. Could be Figuarts Demon Slayer. We don't know yet, but yep. I'll catch you guys in the next video. Have a good one. Peace.